It's 7 p.m. Monday, June 24th, here in Seoul.
Coming up on NEWSCENTER tonight. U.S. President Donald Trump will be in Seoul this weekend to meet with President Moon Jae-in following the G20 summit in Japan, with North Korea's nuclear program likely to top the agenda. Trump may also visit the DMZ.
North Korea's Kim Jong-un receives a letter from Trump, which he said contained interesting content. Many believe the exchange of letters between the two leaders signals that both are willing to resume nuclear talks.
Just when we thought South Korea's National Assembly finally found a breakthrough in normalizing the current deadlock, lawmakers once again failed to reach an agreement on key fast-track bills.
And heatwave advisories are issued for most parts of South Korea as unseasonably high temperatures grip the nation. Seoul is also set for its second heatwave advisory of the year tomorrow. NEWSCENTER begins now. Good evening. You're watching Arirang News Center coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Noadam.
And I'm Han-daeun. Thanks for joining us. We'll begin with confirmation from the presidential office of Cheongwade on U.S. President visit to Seoul.
President Trump will be in Seoul this Saturday and Sunday following the G20 summit in Japan. The top office says North Korea's nuclear issue and other Seoul-Washington bilateral issues will take center stage during the leaders' meeting.
The leaders will discuss bilateral cooperation and ways to establish lasting peace on the Korean peninsula through denuclearization.
According to government officials in Seoul, President Trump's trip might include a visit to the demilitarized zone. Few details have been released, but an official said that a trilateral summit between Trump and the leaders of the two Koreas will not be happening. The Moon-Trump summit comes after the two leaders exchanged personal letters. Trump will depart on Sunday afternoon from the U.S. military base in Ulsan. More details on Trump's itinerary will be released soon.
There's a lot going on right now that could impact diplomacy with North Korea, with global leaders about to converge in Osaka for the G20 summit.
President Trump and President Xi are both in communication with the North, and Washington's nuclear negotiator is also due in Seoul. Lee Min-sun has more on the chain of upcoming diplomatic events.
With Chinese President Xi Jinping's recent visit to North Korea and the exchange of letters between the leaders of the U.S. and North Korea, there's rising expectation denuclearization negotiations are on the brink of restarting. Major countries involved with the denuclearization of North Korea have a packed diplomatic schedule this week. And many watchers believe the next several days are likely to be a turning point for negotiations that have been in limbo for months. The U.S. Special Representative for North Korea, Stephen Biegun, is scheduled to visit South Korea toward the middle of this week. His visit is mainly to prepare for the South Korea-U.S. summit that will take place right after this weekend's G20 summit in Osaka. But Biegun is also likely to work on establishing working-level talks between Pyongyang and Washington and may even contact North Korea during his stay in Seoul. Later this week, a series of summits are lined up between the U.S., China, and South Korea at the G20 summit, which runs for 2 days from Friday. Chinese President Xi Jinping will sit down with the leaders of South Korea and the U.S. to discuss denuclearization, as he pledged to do during his recent summit with Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang. Discussions related to the North's denuclearization are expected to be analyzed after U.S. President Donald Trump holds a summit with President Moon Jae-in in Seoul this coming weekend. Lee Min-sun, Arirang News.
Another round of letters have been exchanged between the leaders of North Korea and the U.S. The two leaders have been doing so since last year, sometimes in times of trouble. And with the denuclearization talks having been stalled for some 4 months now, eyes are on whether these letters can bring back the two sides to the table. Our Lee Ji-won has more.
The White House confirmed on Sunday the report in North Korea's state-run media about President Trump's letter to Kim Jong-un. That's prompted talk of the two sides resuming their meetings, including from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
And I'm hopeful that this will provide a good foundation for us to begin to continue these important discussions with the North Koreans to denuclearize the peninsula.
On whether working-level discussions would begin soon, Pompeo told reporters Sunday that reports coming out of the North suggest there's a good possibility and that the U.S. is ready to go if the North Koreans give the go-ahead. In fact, exchanging letters has been a key way in which Kim Jong-un and President Trump have reconfirmed their trust in each other and their willingness to talk despite the circumstances. It has also added some momentum to the situation. The first personal letter between the two leaders, known to the public at least, was just days before their historic first summit in Singapore last June. In late May, President Trump had canceled the event, pointing to what he called the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in North Korea's statement, lashing out at Vice President Mike Pence for saying the North could end up like Libya if a deal is not reached. And in an effort to get dialogue back on track, the North's top nuclear negotiator at the time, Kim Yong-chol, flew over to the U.S. to hand-deliver Kim Jong-un's giant letter to Trump. Kim Jong-un sent Trump letters in the months to come too, which White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said addressed their commitment to work toward North Korea's complete denuclearization. And amid slow progress on their negotiation, Kim's letter in September is seen to have helped pave the way to the second summit. The letter ceased after the Hanoi summit ended abruptly in February, but the recent interactions sure seem to be sparking hope in many. But it remains to be seen whether these exchanges will give another push to the North Korea-U.S. talks. 이지원, Arirang News.
And it seems North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was pretty pleased with the letter he got from President Trump, as Pyongyang state-run news outlets have reported extensively on the matter. Our Oh Jung-hee now tells us more on what might have been Trump's message and the reason behind the North's extensive coverage.
Excellent content that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was satisfied with and will give serious thought to. That's how the North state media described President Trump's recent letter to Kim. The Korean Central News Agency added that Kim praised Trump's political judgment and extraordinary courage. When and how the letter was delivered is not clear, but it's likely this is a reply from Trump for the letter he received from Kim on June 11th, marking 1 year since their historic first summit in Singapore. During the past 4 months of deadlock in its nuclear talks with Washington, Pyongyang has continuously called on the U.S. to change its calculations. By revealing some of his positive comments, experts say Kim Jong-un is expressing his will to restart dialogue with the U.S.
Letters usually don't have detailed proposals, but through the letter, both sides are reaffirming their will to talk. The main issue here is to draw out a detailed agreement that couldn't be reached in Hanoi. The exchange of letters means there could soon be some high-level or working-level talks that could lead to a third summit between Kim and Trump.
The North is extensively reporting about Trump's letter, releasing reports not only through the Korean Central News Agency that's used to send external messages, but also through the Nodongshinmun and Korean Central Television, which target a domestic audience. Pundits say this is to show North Korean citizens the legitimacy of Kim Jong-un's policy choices by highlighting his personal contacts with President Trump, in addition to the backing he received from Chinese President Xi Jinping last week during their summit in Pyongyang. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
Shifting gears now, it's been quite a dramatic day at South Korea's National Assembly. Just a few hours after the floor leaders of the three main parties announced that Parliament had been normalized following an over 2-month hiatus. The main opposition Liberty Korea Party announced the deal null and void after its lawmakers refused to endorse it. For more, we have our National Assembly correspondent Kim Min-ji on the line. Min-ji, fill us in.
Yes, Dan, you're right. It's been quite the drama here. The sigh of relief that Parliament had been normalized didn't last for long. Just over an hour after we heard from the floor leaders of the main political parties that they reached an agreement to normalize Parliament, lawmakers with the main opposition Liberty Korea party refused to endorse the deal. Now, from what we know so far, the conservative lawmakers claim the deal was not specific enough and required more fine-tuning. Now, that's likely in reference to a clause saying that parties will discuss the proposal of each party regarding the key reform bills put on fast track in mid-April and handle them in the spirit of agreement. Now, those bills include one on electoral reform and another to establish an independent body to probe high-level government officials. If you recall, the fast-track move was what triggered the prolonged impasse in the first place, as the ruling Democratic Party and minor opposition parties pushed ahead with it despite strong resistance from main opposition. Now, the Conservative Party says they will only participate in confirmation hearings for the nominees for Prosecutor General and Chief of the National Tax Service, as well as in committees that will deal with urgent pending issues.
So the much-anticipated parliamentary normalization has again been put on hold, but Minji, the National Assembly went ahead and convened a plenary session for the Prime Minister to deliver a speech on the need for the government's extra budget.
That's right. He delivered the speech about 2 hours ago without the presence of the main opposition Liberty Korea party. In fact, Parliamentary Speaker Moon Hee-sang had given the parties until today to normalize Parliament and agree on the June agenda, or else he said he would push ahead with the speech because deliberations of the extra budget bill can no longer be delayed. Mind you, the $5.7 billion extra budget bill was submitted to the National Assembly 2 months ago. Now, in his speech, the Prime Minister said that the extra budget is a must to deal with people's safety and breathe life into the slowing economy. He said economic uncertainties are growing, pointing to the trade dispute between the U.S. and China and an overall slowdown in the global economy. Now, he also noted that the country slowing economic growth as well as dwindling exports. Now, he added that the budget will also be used to create new jobs, support startups, as well as foster social safety nets for the vulnerable. The Prime Minister also highlighted that the budget will be used to tackle fine dust pollution and deal with the aftermath of the forest fires in Gangwon province. Now, he asked for Parliament's full support so that the budget can be implemented in July at the latest. But given the situation now, deliberations, never mind the passage of the bill itself, appear to be tough, especially as the main opposition Liberty Korea party has claimed that the budget will only be used to woo voters ahead of next year's general elections. So we will have to see how things play out.
Our political correspondent Kim Min-ji reporting from the National Assembly for us. Thank you. President Moon Jae-in has emphasized the need to continue working to build permanent peace on the Korean peninsula, especially with the country still being technically at war. During a lunch today with Korean War veterans, he said he will free the peninsula from worries of another war. Park Hee-jun reports.
President Moon Jae-in says he is working to make South Korea a country of peace and prosperity, free from war. A day ahead of the 69th anniversary of the Korean War, which started on June 25, 1950, the president held a luncheon on Monday with around 180 war veterans and their families at the Blue House. He expressed gratitude to the war heroes for their efforts to protect freedom and peace. However, he said such efforts need to keep going as the war itself has not ended.
1953년 7월 27일 전쟁의 포연은 가셨지만 아직 완전한 종전은 이루어지지 않았습니다. 두 번 다시 전쟁 걱정 없는 평화로운 한반도를 만드는 것이 국내외 참전 용사 여러분의 희생과 헌신에 보답하는 길이라 믿습니다.
President Moon also said that by repelling North Korea's invasion, South Korea was able to keep its identity and achieve what it has achieved since then. And he highlighted that at the center of the Korean War was the United States. Among the nearly 2 million people from 22 countries who fought for the nation, he said Americans were the ones who sacrificed the most.
정부는 그 숭고한 희생을 기려 워싱턴 한국 참전 기념 공원에 추모의 벽을 건립할 예정입니다. 한미 양국은 동맹의 위대함을 기억하며 누구도 가보지 못한 항구적 평화의 길을 함께 열어갈 것입니다.
The president vowed to do his best to enhance national prestige and work to recover the soldiers' remains until every last one is returned to his family. Park Hee-jun, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, on the Korean Peninsula, heatwave advisories were issued in many parts of the country today as unusually high temperatures grip the nation. Seoul is also set for the second heatwave advisory of the year tomorrow. Yoon Jung-min with the details.
As of 11 a.m. Monday, heatwave advisories came into effect in Gyeonggi-do Province, southern Daegu, and Gyeongsangbuk-do Province. The daily highs in some of those places soared to 33 degrees Celsius, unusually high for June in South Korea. The Korean Meteorological Administration said heatwave advisories will also be in effect in the capital Seoul tomorrow morning for the second time this year after the first one was issued last month. Seoul saw its temperatures reach 31 degrees Celsius during the day on Monday. The weather agency expects the temperatures to reach 33 degrees Celsius from tomorrow. Heatwave advisories are issued when daily highs above 33 degrees Celsius are expected to last for more than 2 consecutive days. When the advisories are issued, children and the elderly are advised to stay indoors and outdoor workers should take a break during the daytime. The weather agency says there will be cooler temperatures from Wednesday afternoon as the monsoon rain arrives starting from the southern island of Jeju. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
Amid the ongoing trade tensions between the United States and China, Presidents Donald Trump and Xi Jinping are scheduled to meet later this week at the G20 summit in Japan. And officials from the Chinese government are raising their voices against protectionism. Our Ko Ryun-hee explains.
Ahead of the trade talks with Washington, Beijing has criticized trade protectionism and called multilateralism. The remarks were made in a news briefing on Monday regarding the G20 summit by officials from key groups, including the Ministries of Commerce and Foreign Affairs.
China is willing to work with all parties to firmly uphold multilateralism. The international community has fully realized the danger of unilateralism, protectionism, and bullying, and has raised a strong voice in favor of multilateralism and against protectionism.
One particular country has been insisting on unilateralism and protectionism and abusing trade remedy measures and national security exceptionalism. That country has slapped tariffs on its trading partners, causing major threats to global trade, investment, and economic growth.
Analysts say China's move is intended to take an advantageous position at the trade negotiation this week by creating an atmosphere of denunciation of the protectionist trade measures of the United States. As for what China expects from the meeting, Vice Commerce Minister Wang said the two sides should make compromises in their talks and added that Beijing's principles include mutual respect and equality. Teams from the two sides are currently in negotiations, but officials didn't provide details at the news conference, such as what compromises President Xi might offer to President Trump. The world's two biggest economies have put tariffs on around $360 billion worth of each other's goods since last year. Meanwhile, some economists are saying that China can take a tougher stance at the summit. An expert at a Chinese think tank told the South China Morning Post that the direct impact of the trade war is very limited, citing forecasts that China's economy will grow by 6.3% this year, which is within the government's target range. Ko Ryun-hee, Arirang News.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has suffered the biggest defeat of his political career as the opposition party candidate for mayor of Istanbul won the re-election. The result puts an end to Erdogan and his party's 25-year dominance in Turkey's largest city. Kan Young-woo reports.
Turkey's main opposition party has won Istanbul's rerun mayoral election with its candidate Ekrem İmamoğlu receiving 54% of the votes. İmamoğlu and the Republican People's Party have dealt a huge blow to Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as he's citing voting irregularities called for the annulment of the previous election, which was also won by İmamoğlu.
This society will be greeted with freedom. This society will also fix wrongdoing. You'll see. I have faith in our people. I also believe that people have faith in democracy. I thank our President Erdogan and my rival who congratulated me.
İmamoğlu's supporters took to the streets of Istanbul to celebrate what they saw as justice being served after the original victory by the Republican People's Party was annulled in March.
We knew the outcome would be like this. Imamoglu has been the winner since the beginning, but he was wrong and they got the answer.
With the ruling party still controlling 25 of Istanbul's 39 districts and a majority in the municipal assembly, Imamoglu will need their cooperation to govern the city. Nevertheless, Imamoglu's victory marks a new beginning in Turkey's political landscape because just like Erdogan, who has ruled the country since 2003 both as prime minister and now president, has stated before, whoever wins Istanbul wins Turkey. 간영우, Arirang News.
US Vice President Mike Pence has warned Tehran that it should not misjudge Washington's intentions behind calling off a retaliatory military strike against Iran last week, claiming that all options remain on the table. President Trump has also said he's willing to talk without any preconditions, but will never allow Tehran to have nuclear weapons. Iran is also reacting strongly, stressing that it will not surrender to American pressure. Our Kim Mo-gyun has the story.
U.S. Vice President Mike Pence has said that President Trump showed admirable caution in refusing to proceed with a military strike on Iran after learning that it could kill at least 150 people. Speaking at an interview with CNN on Sunday, Pence said that President Trump demonstrated the value of restraint, stressing that Iran should not mistake it for lack of resolve. The U.S. president called off the strike, which he said was not proportionate as a response to Iran's shooting down of a U.S. military drone last Thursday. Though Vice President Pence claimed that the door remains open for dialogue with Iran, he warned that all options are still on the table. U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton also warned that Iran shouldn't mistake Washington's prudence and discretion for weakness, adding that the U.S. will never allow Tehran to obtain a nuclear weapon, nor allow it to continue to sow violence across the region. He warned that Washington will announce new sanctions against Tehran on Monday.
The president said, "I just stopped the strike from going forward at this time." We expect that the new sanctions President Trump referred to in preparation for some weeks will be announced publicly on Monday. Stay tuned.
On the same day, the deputy speaker of the Iranian parliament made stern remarks, claiming that Iran will not surrender to U.S. threats that easily.
Our country will not easily bow its head in front of them, and we are standing tall. America and its gang should know that our Iran will not surrender to their threats that easily, and we will stand and resist as long as we live.
Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif also tweeted Sunday that another U.S. drone had breached the Iranian airspace in late May despite several warnings. He said that an MQ-9 reconnaissance aircraft, which is also capable of conducting airstrikes, violated Iran's airspace. Kim Mo-gyun, Arirang News.
In February this year, Honduras became the first Latin American country to add Taekwondo to its public elementary school curriculum. The project is now looking to become an exemplary model for other countries as well. Won Jung-han has the story.
Taekwondo hopefuls at this level test in Honduras smash wooden blocks and perform a self-defense martial art display in front of officials at Jose Maria Casco Elementary School in the Honduran capital. The Taekwondo masters praised their efforts, and as a reward, the young students receive yellow belts to show they are ready to move to the next level. These students are among the 1,800 beneficiaries of the regular Taekwondo classes, which have taken place once or twice each week since February at some 15 elementary schools in Honduras. The Taekwondo education at the Honduran public schools is mandatory and is taught to let them know that Taekwondo is more than just a sport.
Taekwondo is a martial art and is one of the Olympic sports. We don't teach martial arts to teach how to fight. We value the mental discipline.
4 months since launching in Honduras, the Taekwondo Promotion Foundation is already looking to expand into other schools or even to other Latin American countries. But more support is needed.
Unfortunately, now there is still a shortage of Taekwondo masters to expand the Taekwondo curriculum further within the country, but someday we hope the martial art can expand further.
It will take time, But if the efforts in Honduras can have a positive effect on the country, there is no doubt that more countries in Latin America will follow in its footsteps. 원정환, Arirang News.
In the South Korean countryside, relatively close to big cities, there are farms where you can pick your own produce and buy it for a cheaper price. It benefits both local farmers and consumers. Our Park Se-young has more.
This mulberry farm is located in the suburbs of Suwon, south of Seoul. Residents from nearby apartment complexes come to the farm because they can buy the fruits for half the price if they pick their own produce. Not only do the fruits have a lighter price tag, consumers are able to verify their quality and freshness right before their eyes. The owner of the 1,600 square meter farm is happy too because it saves in the cost of harvesting, packing, and transporting the fruit.
I can't harvest and pack all these mulberries and sell them at the market on my own. When consumers come to harvest their own fruits, they can enjoy cheaper prices and not only to hire workers.
Pick-your-own farms have long been popular in the US and Japan. Now nearly 200 farms across Korea allow customers to pick their own produce. Consumers can buy fresh produce for 30 to 40% cheaper than at the supermarkets, and farms can save on distribution costs.
The new market format is expected to expand with the aging rural population, increase in single-person households, and growing consumer consciousness towards agricultural product safety.
As they benefit both farmers and consumers, pick-your-own farms in Korea are expected to grow in popularity. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Those caught drunk driving will face tougher punishment starting tomorrow. Police will launch a 2-month nationwide crackdown following a revised traffic law that would include roadside tests in the morning to catch those driving with a hangover. The so-called Second Yunchangul Act also lowers the legal limit of drivers' blood alcohol level to 0.03%. Punishments range from license suspension to life imprisonment. The Culture Ministry has laid out plans to expand the country's museums and art galleries and double the number of visitors to them over the next 5 years. Among the plans is an application which notifies the public on events happening at each museum and art gallery. Guidelines and services will also be set up to help disabled visitors access the facilities more easily. The ministry plans to build about 180 more museums and art galleries by 2023. The Korea Consumer Agency says there has been a rising number of complaints about travel booking websites based overseas. Nearly 1,300 complaints were filed in 2018, more than 3 times the number recorded in the previous year. Most of the complaints were of delays, followed by refusals to cancel trips and give refunds. South Korean job seekers want their dream salary to be around $83,000, but half of them think it's not possible. That's according to a survey of 25,000 job seekers published by local job portal Saramin. More than half of the respondents believe they cannot get their dream salary with hard work alone. They also blamed slow economic growth. The job seekers instead expect their real salary to be around $26,000. That has been your 3-minute news flash. It is that time now where we take a look at Arirang's digital media content.
And today we have another episode of When in Korea, or Wink, with Justin.
Right now we're walking towards the main stadium at Seoul Olympic Park. Today is like a special event area for a BTS event. Wow, look at the line. Are you guys excited? Like you guys are in line for Amazing event. What are you most looking forward to tonight?
You'll get together so you see your favorite artists, see them perform, and also get together with all these friends.
Right. Oh, you guys met through this event?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, I thought you guys were longtime friends.
No.
Okay, you guys met during the event.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. 스티커는 직접 붙이신 거죠?
이거
이거.
저희가
네.
직접 이제 구매를 해서
네.
다른 분들께 무료로 나눠드리는 걸 했어요. 저희가
하고
남은 거 그냥 붙이고 다니는 건데
그냥 나눠줬어요? 왜요?
오랜만에 있는 행사고 다들 즐거우셨습니다.
Wow, yeah, it's an ocean of people. Like if you look here, you see it's like an ocean. It's a huge ocean of people, right?
저희 이거는 커플더고 이거 다이어리 꾸미기 스티커고 지금 1,000원에 팔려요.
Oh, they're doing group performances here. As you can see, the energy is amazing down here. They're actually really good. They're actually very talented. I'm very surprised. I don't think they're just fans. They actually might have a career in entertainment if they keep this up. All right, guys, it's finally time. It's 7 p.m. and as you can see, I'm actually still outside because unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any tickets, so I'm not going to be able to watch it inside, but thankfully, I will be able to watch it through this little device on Be Live. 앉으세요, 형님. 아, 멋있다. Yeah, there you go. Feeling the beat. You got it. Alright guys and girls, as you can see behind me, the Lotte World Tower is actually shining bright purple. As you guessed, the reason for it being purple is in honor of BTS. And it's not only the Lotte World Tower Mall, but also other tourist attractions around Korea, such as Namsan Tower, are actually lit up all in purple in honor of BTS. But yeah, my name was Justin, and that's it for today's Wink. I had a lot of fun. I'll catch you all next week on When in Korea.
A heat wave alert has been issued in various parts of the country today.
And it is expected to stay sizzling hot for the next couple of days. Let's get more details from our Michelle Park at the Weather Center. Michelle.
Good evening, guys. Now, in parts of the nation, the highs today climbed up into the 30s, and Seoul and nearby regions were issued with heat wave alerts for the second time this summer. Now, the alerts in these regions and more will take effect Tuesday morning as the heat is expected to intensify. Now, the sky will be crystal clear with strong sunlight on the peninsula. Now, at the same time, Beijing will have a high of 37 degrees Celsius, whereas Tokyo is about as cool as Busan and Jeju. Now, looking at the temperature readings, now we have a mild start to our Tuesday. Seoul, Daegu, and Gwangju, and also in Busan will begin at 19 degrees Celsius. Now, we are expecting to see mercury going up higher than today. Seoul at 32, while Chuncheon and Daegu marks up to 33 degrees. Now, this heat will be cooled by the overcast sky and the monsoon rain on Wednesday, which is expected to start from Jeju and the southern areas. I'll leave you with the weather conditions around the world.
Well, that will wrap it up for this edition of Arirang News. Thank you as always for watching.
News in Depth is next.